The views expressed in this program do not necessarily reflect those of this station.
Welcome to Insights into Northeast Michigan, a WBKB News public affairs program. Insights deals with the issues affecting those in the community, as well as Northeast Michigan and the state. And now, Insights into Northeast Michigan.
Thank you for joining us. I'm your new host, Aaron Parsegian, for this edition of Insights. I'm joined by Denise Burke. She's an attorney, and her office is located on North 2nd Avenue. Today we're discussing the possible change of North 2nd Avenue from Chisholm Street to the bridge into a possible two-way traffic. So Denise, how are you this morning?
I'm good. Thanks for having me here.
Thanks for being here. So you operate an office located there on North 2nd Avenue, and you are against the change into a two-way street situation.
That is correct. I've had a business on 2nd Avenue, which is 105 North 2nd Avenue, since 2004 when I bought the building.
And so the council originally decided to do this change back in September. And so when you first heard they approved this and they were going to move forward with it, what was your initial reaction?
Well, I was just notified that day that they were going to make a vote on that. And so first I went to the DDA meeting and they had already voted. And so we sat through that meeting and then went to the city council and they were going to take the vote. That's the first I'd even heard of them actually wanting to make this, that they were moving forward with the plans to make it into a two-way. So when they voted, I was very upset that it was a 3-2 vote. I felt that the city council members had already made up their mind, and this was just a formality in regard to the vote. The city council members that voted for it were they were already on the economic development committee and on some of the other committees, and so I felt that they didn't care about what anybody said. They had already made up their mind to do it based upon the other committees they served on. So
you were kind of looking for more input from the people who own the businesses on North 2nd into the city's decision?
Yes, I think the city should have consulted the property owners on 2nd Avenue, not only the people that own the building, but the people that live down on 2nd Avenue. If you don't know, or if the public doesn't know, the bottom level are zoned commercial and the upper levels are zoned residential. So you have businesses and people living down there, and it would greatly affect both of them, and they should have been consulted, and the city council should have asked us, what is the day-to-day life? How would this affect you? Can we in reality even do this?
And so you've been operating your practice down there since 2004, and you obviously know your neighbors and the people around you, and how did they feel about it?
I have not found one person down there, that business owner on 2nd Avenue, that agrees with this. 2nd Avenue is a very special street because we have outdoor restaurants, we have people living down there, it's very busy with deliveries, and to make it a two-way is going to affect our business negatively, not increase it, which is what they tell us that they want to do it to increase business.
And in your opinion, what's the most negative impact something like this could have?
Negative is, first of all, it's going to take away almost all the parking down there. Second of all, there's not going to be much buffer zone between the traffic and the people that are eating at Fresh Palette or eating or even sitting out on the roadway. It's going to make traffic congested. You're not going to be able to move, because when you come to Chisholm, you have to turn left or right. There's not going to be a turn lane, and so people are going to be blocked, and there's not going to be anywhere for them to go. So you're not going to get deliveries in there. You're not going to get traffic flow. It's going to be bad for the people that are sitting out and trying to relax and enjoy lunch.
And so when this originally happened, you and a few of the business owners had plans to draft some sort of injunction to prevent the city, who was trying to move forward pretty quickly with the process.
Right. Initially, when we were at the city council meeting and they just took a vote, and we realized that they had already made up their mind and they were going to start at the work that Monday. So within a week, they were going to start changing the streets. We had a meeting the next day with the store owners, property owners, and we decided to do an injunction only to stop them so they can hear what we had to say and try to get regrouped and present them evidence that this is not a good idea. Well, they, on their own, decided not to go forward with it until next year, and they stalled it, which gave us enough time to regroup. I've read every single one of their studies that they based upon, and we've been able to talk to some of the council members, and we're gonna have a town hall meeting coming up soon. So the injunction wasn't necessary because they stalled themselves.
And so moving forward, the city has approved the change over, but they're waiting until 2017 to do it to kind of get past those winter months. What do you want out of these next few months for the city to do? Maybe listen to you more, listen to business owners more. What do you expect to get out of it?
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to have a town hall meeting sometime before the end of the year with the public. A lot of people called my office, even public members, not only business owners, but public. And we want to try to get them involved and see where we need to go. We may have asked that it be put on the ballot, get enough petition going, enough signatures to have it put on to vote for downtown, or we may solicit. We want them to hear our complaints is what we want. We want them to see how difficult it would be for trucks to turn there in two-way traffic, how difficult it would be to get deliveries, how difficult it's going to be for eating out there, and how it's going to affect everybody involved on 2nd Avenue. We want them to know what our complaints are, and they're not just complaints, they're reality. They don't spend day in and day out on that street. They don't know what happens on that street. So our hope is to get enough support to convince them that this is not a good idea.
And in your opinion, why would the city go through something with this if, as you said, the majority of the business owners are kind of against it?
Well, one, I think that they thought they could slide this through without the business owners even knowing, because they did not notify us that they were going to take the vote, nor the people that live there. I think that the reason they're doing that is the same reason they did it on 3rd, is you had Holiday Inn come in and they wanted two-way traffic to get to their business, so they made that a two-way, that short area. Well, now you have that open spot where Alpena Power was, and they're soliciting people to buy that spot or renovate that spot, and they think, the Economic Development Committee and Target, they think that two-way traffic will help sell that spot. In reality, it won't, and in reality, none of the businesses want it. So it had nothing to do with increasing business. It had to do with some committee members for the economic development wanting to sell certain real estate and make Alpena bigger.
So you'd say there's a disconnect between the city and the business owners that operate?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Denise. We have to take a short break, so stay tuned because we have more insights to come.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Insights. I'm joined by Joanna Cooper. She's the owner of As You Wish and Blue Phoenix Books in downtown Alpena. Joanna, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So we're talking about the conversion of North 2nd Avenue from Chisholm Street to the bridge into two-way traffic. And as a business owner, we've talked to multiple business owners who are not happy with that decision. So tell me why you are against that.
Well, I have a couple different reasons. First of all, I think that the downtown, the way that it is, the street from Chisholm to Water, is pretty much the heart of downtown. When I purchased my building there about 2 years ago, I chose that location. I'm also involved in real estate. I sell real estate, and so I chose that building because I liked the location of it for the ambiance that it held. That being said, that's my thought as a business owner and a property owner. Also the fact that it's very easy access for people, because currently we have on-street parking on both sides of the street, and the plan that is proposed to be done is gets rid of half of the on-street parking on the west side of the street, which is crucial to our small businesses downtown. And then, like I said, the ambiance of it, the parking issue, there's residents downtown that live upstairs in apartments that utilize those spaces for, I have an apartment above my building, when they have to bring laundry down or garbage or So those are my reasons for, I would say, thinking that the way that it is what works. We built our downtown around a one-way street. We widened the sidewalks when they changed it to that. And really, in my opinion, the only way to make it right, if you were going to go back to two-way, is that you'd have to tear back the sidewalks, to rip out the trees, and make it so that you could still utilize parking on both sides and make the road wider. And I certainly wouldn't want to see that.
Right, and so when the city council, they approved this decision back in September, what was your initial reaction to that?
Well, I actually knew that decision was coming because I serve on the DDA board.
Right.
And we actually made the recommendation to City Council to make that change. It was something that the Economic Development Committee has been working on for a while, and they made the recommendation to City Council to do that. So I actually was at the first meeting when they tabled the decision, and I spoke, as well as several other property and business owners did, because it was a decision that we thought came kind of quickly. There were a lot of businesses and property owners who felt that they didn't have an opportunity to really be heard about it, so we went before City Council and they tabled it, which I thought was a good decision at that point. But then 3 weeks later, it was put back on the agenda, and at that point, I went and spoke again, and then they made the decision to move forward with it.
And so would you say there's a distance between how the city's thinking and the business owners that actually operate on North 2nd?
You know, I would have to say yes at this moment. I am hoping and trying as a DDA board member to find a way that we can all work together on this. I actually tried to add to my agenda at my last board meeting to talk about it, to bring up a suggestion that I had, which was to make a recommendation again to council, since they've already made a decision on this, but to make a recommendation to them to kind of take a few steps back, and perhaps even if it wasn't necessary to hold a public hearing for this matter, to hold some type of a public meeting where property owners and business owners and even people from the community could all come and lay out a plan, show exactly what the plan's going to be, listen to people's concerns, try to answer their questions. Whatever the end result would be, I'm not sure, but give people that opportunity, because that seems to be what people are the most disgruntled about right now, is that they didn't really know what was going to happen, and at this point, their concerns and their thoughts on it, when they're the businesses that are down there, are not really being looked at.
And so when you tried to make this motion at the most recent DDA meeting, how was that met by the other people? It was turned down, right?
Well, I couldn't even get it on the agenda, yeah. In order to add something late to the agenda, you are not able, it has to be a unanimous, and it was a 4-4 vote. So there were 4 on our board who agreed to add it to the agenda. I didn't even get to get out what I was even wanting to put on the agenda, because it was just, you have to make a motion to add something to the agenda. And you know, what I was hoping for in that was not necessarily that everyone would agree with me, but I have been, you know, I have had several business owners and property owners and customers come to me and say, please use your opportunity as a board member to voice our concerns and to take this back to your board.
So your goal was to basically open up for discussion,
yes,
to get more people involved in the public, and
yes,
you know, more of the business owners involved in a decision.
Yes, and so that we could listen to what everybody had to say, because, I mean, really, in the end, it's our community, it's our downtown, and without the businesses down there, without the properties that we have down there, that's what makes our downtown, is all of that. And I was hoping for a coming together of the DDA, the city, community members, property owners, everybody to come together and talk about this and kind of just hash it out, get all of the concerns, get everything out on the table, and then see where it would go from there.
And so moving forward, the city already has, plans to go through with this in 2017. What are you trying to do to maybe halt it or get other people involved before they truly make the decision to do it?
Well, at this point, like I said, I wasn't able to get anywhere. Unfortunately, the board was not willing to hear what I wanted to say. And so at this point, I will continue to reach out to council members, to city faculty and staff about the concerns. And I mean, it is my hope that we will somehow be able to come together on this and work it out.
And so what do you think the worst thing about this, I guess, as a business owner? You said, will ruin the ambiance. The reason you own a business down there is because of the location, how it was. But what do you think the major impact it would have?
For me right now, the major impact isn't even, I think I think it will have a big impact on our businesses and people being able to come there. But right now, I think the biggest impact is the fact that there are a lot of businesses and property owners that feel that they're not being heard and that what they think doesn't matter. And so for me as a member of this community and somebody who wants to see a coming together, that's, I think, that part is what is the most disappointing right now. It's also going to cost a lot of money to do it. And I personally think there are other things that we can use that money on, could be spent more wisely. So, and like I said, the loss of parking is, we already have an issue downtown. That's, obviously one of the biggest factors is that we just can't afford to lose any more parking downtown.
All right, Joanna, thanks so much for being here. That's all we have for you, but stay tuned because after the break we have more insights coming. Welcome back to this edition of Insights. I'm joined by Alpena City Manager Greg Sundin. Greg, thanks for being here.
You're welcome. Glad to be here.
So we're talking about the change of North 2nd Avenue to two-way traffic from Chisholm to the bridge. Tell me how this plan got originally proposed and started.
Well, the concept has been around for a long time, even before I came to the city in 2008. It's been back and forth, primarily within the DDA discussions. It's been the council since I've been with the city one other time, and the council elected at that point in time not to take any action regarding any change as the DDA. There was no clear consensus on the DDA as to what they wanted. And it's basically stayed there until the last few years when the discussion has come up again, not just regarding two-way, but also parking within the downtown, both on street and off street, and how all those integrate together.
And so tell me about the details of the project. What would it entail?
Well, it's not just 2nd Avenue. It would, as approved by council, it will convert 2nd Avenue from Chisholm Street to the bridge, back to two-way. Also, Carter Street would become a two-way street, and with 3rd Avenue being extended as a two-way street as well to intersect Carter. Then there will be various on-street parking changes as well. And
so it was originally, this was voted or approved in September, and then there was a talk that it was going to be done like right away, but now it's kind of been pushed to 2017. What was the reasoning for that?
It takes a number of players that you have to get aligned and coordinated to make this change, because we have to surface the street with a very thin layer, but to cover the existing markings. You have to remark those, you have to put in new signage, and above all, the traffic signal at Chisholm Street, and also the one at 2nd and River Street need to be redone. And the one on Chisholm Street requires work by MDOT. And so getting all these players, the contractors together and everybody, we simply couldn't do it in the time frame we had before we would be getting into more hostile, unpredictable weather. So it was decided by myself, I made the decision that we would postpone it until 2017.
And so something of this extensive a project like this, how long would that take to complete when it gets started?
probably 2 to 3 weeks. And it doesn't mean that there'll be a full closure of the streets for that time, but for some periods there will be, when they're resurfacing, remarking, things of this sort. The exact time frame of when we're going to do it is unknown. It will either be in the spring, before Memorial Day. However, we're also working on the 2nd Avenue Bridge, and that has means closures there, so we're looking at whether it's a good idea to have both the bridge and a good part of 2nd plus Carter Street and part of River Street closed at the same time. So we're looking at that. If it is not done, then we will not do it during the summer. During the high tourist season, we would wait then until after Labor Day like we had planned.
So the big decision is whether or not to do it at the same time as you're also remodeling the bridge?
That will be a consideration we will look at as staff, and then inform council and see what they think as well.
And the city council approved this, so it's automatically going to happen in 2017, barring anything?
Council has acted. They voted the majority to move ahead with the plan. So the directive is to myself as city manager, and the appropriate staffs are to do that. And we will, unless there is some change that, as of right now, I am not foreseeing.
And then does the city work with MDOT or the county in order to get a project like this together?
This would be strictly the city, other than at the intersection of Chisholm and 2nd, where the traffic signal needs to be adjusted, a 4th head. It's only a 3-way head now. For the traffic signal, we'd have to have a 4th one installed, and also some markings on 2nd Avenue on the MDOT side would have to be done. We would probably do those markings, but everything has to be coordinated with MDOT. They would probably handle the light fixture, or the traffic signal itself.
And what would you say maybe not the hardest, but the most extensive process or part of this process is?
Well, there's always just a lot of involvement before you get to a decision. As I said, it's been an issue that's been on again and off again for a long time. The council, when it was first presented to them from the DDA with their recommendation, it was tabled, and then 2 meetings later they came back and then they decided. So it went through the normal process and decisions made, and now we move forward.
And then what changes should people expect to see in 2017 as far as their traffic concerns? It's only going to be 3 weeks, you said?
Well, the main thing will be, as we had with when we converted 3rd Avenue from Chisholm up to River Street to 2-way a couple of years ago. It's going to be a learning curve for people to get used to the fact that traffic patterns change. And that will always take some time. We'll have signage, we'll have police out there, not necessarily to give tickets when people are driving in the wrong lane, but to simply inform them and get them into the correct lane. Any change like that is going to have a learning curve.
All right, well, Greg, thank you so much for being here. That's all the time we have for you today. Be sure to join us next week, same time, same place, for another edition of Insights.
Insights into Northeast Michigan is produced by WBKB News. If you have any comments, suggestions, or topics you would like to see on a future show, please email WBKB News. This has been a production of Thunder Bay Broadcasting Corporation. All rights reserved.
The furniture and set design for this episode of Insights is provided by Young Appliance Art Van Furniture on US 23 South, Alpena.